But I'm really excited to be talking to you guys about something that's starting to make a big difference in my personal and my business life. And that is the GPS and the 411, which go together. And it has been impressed upon me and many of us to use these tools thanks to the morning calls with James Shaw that it started back in March of 2020, followed up by the Cary, North Carolina Market Center has had a script and role play that's been going for quite a long time. That's been very foundational to my past year and moving forward. Also, the other groups that have come out of the James Shaw leadership. And so I want to thank the leadership team at my Keller Williams office. We're office 248, and Margaret Sherrill for being so supportive, because I'm new to the ALC, brand new. So it's nice to have someone say, yeah, you go get it, Tiger. And Colleen Holly, Nicole Rich, Brandy Barber, and our darling Vincent Cataldo, who's making all the magic happen today. But also, I want to, if you haven't heard of these people, know that they exist in our Keller Williams family and that they're beloved by me. James Shaw, Nakia Dollar, Jenny Wallach, Allison Hoagland, Dan Tumarkin, Bree Pittman, Jean Marie Minton, Sam Nealon, Jack Smith, and Chris Hurley. I thank them for their unrelenting leadership. It's just amazing, and I'm just full of gratitude for these peeps. Now, let's have some fun with this Zoom. Who can raise their digital hand and let me know who has been in the business 5 years or longer? Okay,
I have.
Okay, so Terry Bonacorso and Louise Weiss. Jack Smith, how long have you been in the business? Can you raise your digital?
Sure. 5 years, just 5 years, February 1st.
Congratulations. Allison Hoagland, how long have you been in the business? Have you been in 5 years yet?
I am coming up on my 4th anniversary.
That's exciting. Okay, and Kathy Fisher, how long have you been in the business?
A whole month.
Whoa, that's exciting. All right. Well, I think none of us want to see you have your mind blown, okay? Keep it all inside the cranium. This is good, exciting stuff today. One thing that we all hear about is time blocking, and I'm going to get fancy and do screen share. And here we go. Hopefully you will all see this. All right, so 2 books that are foundational to anybody in business of real estate is the MREA book by Gary Keller and The One Thing. There are other books, but in deference to our newest agent on this call, Kathy Fisher, we're not going to blow her mind up today. But both
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Kathy. You know, just let it, you know, kind of wash over you, and you want to be encouraged to take the first appropriate step this week, the first appropriate step for where you are. And for all of us, we're at different points in our business, and so what's appropriate for us is different, and that's a beautiful thing. We're told to think about dominoes lining up, and we've all seen strings of dominoes lined up, and they tap that first one, and all of a sudden they're knocking each other around, and you've got the little train of dominoes being knocked over. And that's what you call momentum. Momentum is a very good thing. And then if you imagine that you knock over a domino and the next domino is just a little bit bigger, and then the next one is just a little bit bigger still until you're knocking over big old refrigerator-sized dominoes. That is what these systems and models could do for our business. And it's pretty darned exciting. Now I'm gonna talk about the GPS. Now we talk about these goal planning tools from the perspective of the GPS, which is looking at the big picture for the year. And so that's 1 goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies. The 411 is more about, well, let's put it this way. The GPS, if you're getting in your car, and let's say we want to go from Daytona Beach over here, and we want to go to Austin, Texas, and go to the Keller Williams International headquarters. Wouldn't that be cool? And I know we would all be excited to go. Maybe we'd get a glimpse of Gary Keller. Maybe we could get 5 minutes with the man himself. So that's pretty exciting. And then we start thinking about, my goodness, how are we going to get there, right? And that's the GPS says this is our goal. This is where we want to go, and we have a general idea of how we're going to get there. We've got our 3 priorities, making sure that Louise's car is all gassed up, because we're going in her car, not mine. I'm not driving. We've got to figure out all of those things, our priorities and our strategies, and so on. And then the 411 is more like figuring out, we're at a certain mile marker, maybe we should stop for gas. We're at a certain mile marker, this might be a time to pull over and like close our eyes for a little while. So the 411 is telling us, making us keep track of where we are in the process. And you can think about, where do you want to go? Why do you want to do that? And I had a little fun with this. What is going to get you off of your comfy couch, y'all? What is going to get you moving? Because 15 hours, almost 16 hours in the car with Louise and me might make you a little crazy. So you better really want to go. What is your big why? And it doesn't have to be mine. It doesn't have to be, Jack Smith's. It's going to be a different one for each of us. Now, some of you have the book, The One Thing, and it looks like this. And some of you know the book very well. Some of you have never run across it just yet. We do have copies in our market center that you can borrow or win in a class. It's all about finding your big why, and also figuring out what questions you need to ask yourself to get you closer to your big why. And I would like to change. Now, are you seeing my screen now where it says GPS for GPS and 411? Or not? Okay.
No.
Okay.
See page.
Okay. So I have to change screens. That's why. This is why you want it all on one like document thingy. And thank you for bearing with me, because this is new to me. All right, so we're going to share screen again. And this time we're going into, okay. Here, so exciting. All right, so I made a GPS for teaching this GPS and 411 class. Because essentially you can use a GPS for anything that is on your mind. It could be an open house that you're planning for next week and you want to make sure it's really successful. Or it could be your business plan for the remainder of this year, which is also good. So I found out, because James Shaw suggested that we all go out and run to our our team leaders and say, hey, I want to teach this class. And somebody said, sure, we're going to put you on the schedule. Well, then I had to figure out, how am I going to do this class, right? And so here's what I did. So my goal is to teach an amazing class that benefits my market center and guests. And I have 3 priorities to achieve that goal. I have prepare for GPS and then prepare for 411 because they're 2 different tools. And so, I looked into how other people taught the class and took notes. I read the One Thing book and assisted in a very small way of some colleagues who were doing a book club for it so that I could get to know the book a little bit better. And gosh, I'm just scratching the surface of that. And then I need to make a GPS to show you guys and create slides. And I also practiced. You may not know that I practiced, but I did. And then my second priority is to prepare for the 411. And so similarly, I came up with things that I needed to do to focus in on that and make sure that I had that tidied down. And then prior to the class, I had things I needed to do. And including a powwow with Vincent, our agent services guy. So let's talk about how you are going to use this in your business. And actually, I know I said I practiced, but I've left out something very important. I'm going to unshare my screen. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, we're going to share the screen again. All right. And this time, okay. Uh-oh. All right. So on page 14 of the One Thing, you're going to see this amazing tool, and it's, let me open it up. I can show it to you. I didn't want to make actual copies of copyrighted materials because I get in trouble with the big guy. And excuse me just a minute. Discuss amongst yourself. Sorry about this. So professional. All right. So I was going to show you this. Can you see it? The 7 circles. Are you seeing that, or are you just seeing my screen? Okay. Thank you, Louise. So at the top, if you go around clockwise, it's got spiritual, physical, personal life, key relationships, your job, your business, and finances. And I would encourage you, and Kathy, even as a new agent, Kathy, it's never too early to start thinking about your life and the big picture. Right now, you may be thinking, oh, I want to sell my first house, or, I want to, get the first house under contract, and won't that be great? And it will be great, because every journey starts with, the first step, right?
Right.
But I'm going to encourage you, because all of our leadership is encouraging us all to think bigger and further down the road. In fact, 20 years down the road, where would you want your life to be in 20 years? And if you're thinking about each of these 7 circles, and really give yourself time to think about it, it will change your life. The light bulb will come on. And every time you read one of these books or come to a training, you're going to be turning that light on brighter. That's our goal. So if you were to take 7 pieces of paper and just put a heading on each one for each one of these groups. So spiritual, physical, personal life, key relationships, your job, your business, which is different because your job is your job in your business. They're two different things, and finances. And don't worry about doing this all right now, but I would love for you to actually have those 7 pieces of paper. And then this weekend, when you have some time, you would take the time to just consider what those areas might look like in the if everything went well, if you did everything right, if your dominoes started lining up in such a way that they start knocking over bigger dominoes in your life, in your personal life, and in your business. It's so beautiful to think about. So 7 areas, 10 years, not just 1 year. We don't want to think, oh, I've got my plan this year is to sell. If that's my plan this year, where does that fit in the scope of my big picture? How do I want it to go? So we start with the end in mind. Gary Keller always talks about starting with the end in mind. So if we imagine 20 years down the line, when we have achieved growth in all of these areas, and I'm not saying perfection because who gets perfect? However, we've achieved the growth and it's amazing. What then would this year need to look like in order for all our dominoes to be progressively gaining momentum to get to this point where we have a business worth selling to someone because it's an awesome business, a legacy worth leaving to someone behind us, and think like that. Think that big. Dare to do that. Now let's come back to today. Oh, okay. I have to unshare, and then we're going to go back to my other thingy. I can close that. All right. So now we will screen share this. All right. Okay. So we're in 2021. And let's say you have a goal to close 24 transactions. Jack Smith may have a really different goal for 2021 because Jack Smith is looking at, he's working with a team, right? But I'm a solo agent and some of you guys are solo agents. So, 24 transactions would be pretty good. And it's great to say, yeah, I believe that's what I'll do. However, how are you going to make sure that you're going to get there? We know we need leads, listings, and leverage, right? So if we say our GPS the goal is to have 24 closed transactions. Here are our three priorities. That's the P: leads, listings, and leverage. Now let's see how that works out on the next page. So we have, and this is just something I came up with. You may have something different. However, this is what I got. My strategy 1 for more leads. So without leads, you're not going to have listings. If you don't have listings, you don't need leverage because you're not doing anything. So it all comes back to, let's start at the very beginning, leads. So I will be doing D2 letter group calls every week. And strategy 2 would be, I'm scheduling my lead follow-up. This is different. And if you've had somebody give you the time of day and suggest that maybe they were at an open house you did, and you've got to follow up on that lead. It should go into command. It should maybe become a task for next week to remind you to call and follow that person up. That would be great, wouldn't it? So after you do your DT-D2 letter groups, make sure you've scheduled in lead follow-up time. There could be opportunities that you have in command somebody who said that in the next 6 months, they're going to be ready to sell their house. Are you going to wait 6 months to call them? No, 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 no. You're going to put them on a smart plan and be intentionally in touch with them. And that lead follow-up, that extra phone call that you might need to make to just keep your finger, a little bit on the pulse to see if they're still making, having those plans, because they may need to do it sooner. And if you were waiting 6 months to follow up, you'd be SOL. Which means, I don't know, we know what it means. So a third strategy to get more leads, let's say we're going to do 2 open houses monthly. And then strategy 4, we're going to circle prospect around sales and listings. So if you're a new agent, you don't have any sales and you don't have, you can circle prospect around the open house that you're helping with. You could circle prospect around somebody else's listing. You could call people in your neighborhood and you could just say, hey, were you aware that 2 homes on Ridge Boulevard sold in the last 30 days? Clearly, there's a lot of interest in our neighborhood. Who do you know who's looking to move to our neighborhood? Or do you know anyone who's looking to sell a home so we have a home for someone to buy in? Now, who knew you could circle prospect without having a sale or a listing? But you can. And then when you're looking at your year, and we have 4 quarters, it would be really awesome to consider having 4 annual events, 4 quarterly events. For me, I have, being the singing realtor, I have a caroling group that I take out into my farm area in December, and it's really great fun. We've been doing it for ever since I was a realtor, before I was a realtor, in fact. So that's something where I'm able to touch people in my farm and also in my community, which is also wonderful. So that's one. I already know I'm going to do that. I'm also very passionate about Sophie's Circle Dog Rescue. And she also has a pet food pantry that also helps cats. So personally, I feel that a house is not a home until you have a furry friend with you. So pets naturally come to my mind. So that is an event that I have. And then, you can come up with your own events. Maybe you like golf. Maybe you, have artistic kids and you want to do a chalk it up event on the sidewalks in your neighborhood. Whatever it is, you want to turn that quarterly event into something that's going to help build your database and cement you as the local expert in your neighborhood. And it also shows that you give a crap, because guess what? We work for Keller Williams Realty, and our community, our culture is that we actually care about each other. We care about our community and so on. This is also good for business. So have it in here. We have our quarterly events asking for referrals. So that's a really basic way to find your leads. Do any of these things cost money? Well, if you need to get phone numbers for your circle prospecting, that could cost you a subscription to Mojo or, I don't know, RedX, one of those things. Could you not also door knock? And is that basically free? That's an option for people just starting out. Now, people who are more established with their team or more established in their business, they may, pump it up and spend more money for some of these things. But I'm all about doing things for free because I've spent a lot of money and didn't have dominoes knock other dominoes over. So I have learned my lesson, truth. Now, priority 2 is if we're going to have 24 transactions this year, I would be doing 60% sellers and 40% buyers. Generally speaking, if you have listings, you will attract buyers. However, those buyers don't always purchase right now. Sometimes they do, which is why we still need to lead generate. So 15%, 15 listings is about 60% of 24 transactions. So not all of those are going to close. On average, maybe 90% of your listings will close. You know, things happen. Sometimes people have to take things off the market. Sometimes things expire. All right, so to get these listings, I'm going to schedule one listing appointment per week. I really need to have that. I can talk to people, but if I'm not intentional about getting a listing appointment, I really shouldn't be surprised to see that I only have one active listing right now. So this is my goal right now. I need to complete the listing consultation in Command. That way I can have something that I can text or email or print and drop off to a. You gotta have your tools, and that's one of your tools. I need to request reviews from all past clients because people are checking us out online first. Now, if you're a new agent, what would you do? You could get a review from a colleague who was really impressed on how well you helped her with her open house, Kathy. You could do that. You could also help one of your colleagues by writing a terrific review about him and saying, you know, he's a great to work with, and he's super knowledgeable about the market, and you know, keep it, you know, short and sweet. But there's no reason why you shouldn't have any reviews yet. And if you are active as a realtor, get those reviews. And if you need help, ask me. Practice objection handling conversations daily. Now, this is what we call script and role play practice. And thanks to a lot of wonderful and generous and motivated people in our company, we now have lots of options. You can join the script and role play. I believe it's called Real Estate Conversations with the Cary Market Center in North Carolina. It's on Zoom every day, every weekday, and we start with a scenario, and they model a conversation, which we all get to listen to, and then they break us out into breakout rooms, and we get to practice on each other. What's good about that is if you miss a day, it's not bad for other people. No one was depending on you to show up, and you will always be with someone different. So I can't recommend that more. It's really awesome. So you've got to practice these conversations every day and get better. Hang out with people smarter than you. Now, once you've done all of these things, maybe you should consider also adding for sale by owners and expireds to your lead generation. And I'll tell you why. No, you don't know them. No, you don't have a relationship with them, but they've literally had their hand up saying they wanted to sell their house. So it's a good thing to get comfortable with. And if you've been practicing script and role play, you can do this too. Now, the priority 3 on our example GPS is leverage. So leads, listings, and leverage. For a new agent, you may want to hire a transaction coordinator so that you know that your paperwork is being handled properly. It is possible too, as a newer agent, you may be out showing property a lot to buyers because you don't have your listings yet. So when you're out showing property, you may miss that, you know, some little something needed to be signed by 5 o'clock today, and you missed it because you were, you know, showing 8 condos and you weren't sitting at your computer. But guess what? Your transaction coordinator is sitting at her computer, and she has her phone, and she can get into Command and DocuSign or Dotloop, whatever you're using, and get that document signed, initialed, whatever it was. So transaction coordinator would be the first person you hire. Transaction coordinators are not free. However, if a contract falls apart, they don't get paid. They only get paid when you get paid. and therefore it's not a scary scenario. Another thing that you could do for leverage, and in my case as a single agent, I have hired a student on occasion to help me with open houses. My husband has helped me with open houses on more than one occasion. I don't have to pay him. And sometimes he makes dinner. So those are things that you can do. You can also, not can or also, you need to be leveraging Command for smart plans. Now, Kathy, have you had any experience with smart plans yet?
I have not.
Okay.
An overview of it, but yeah, I have not used that yet.
Don't worry. Do you have some people in your database now?
I do, yes.
Excellent, excellent. I think it would be fun to have an after work smart plan party. We need to tell Vincent that we want an after work smart plan party where we can order pizza and just all sit down and come up with some smart plan to put our people on, right?
That'd be great.
Because
I would love
this
that.
is the best leverage. And it would be fun too. So
Right.
what's cool about it is that once you put somebody on, say it's a neighborhood watch, it can be monthly. It can be, if they start getting more serious about wanting to sell their home, it might be twice a month. If it's just your friend and you're saying, hey, friend, you know, I'm new to real estate, but check out this new tool I have. And wouldn't you like to know what's happening in your neighborhood? Let me sign you up. Would that be okay? That's a conversation you can have with them. And then that shows that you have tools and you ain't afraid to use them. So we want to leverage Command for smart plans. Now, strategy 4 is attracting a great accountability partner. Personally, I've tried to get an accountability partner a few times over the years. And one time it was actually Angela Lee, who's now my transaction coordinator, and she's terrific because she would just text me and she goes, "Are you in your chair?" My goal was to be in the office by 8:30 a.m. And she had a timer on her phone and she'd text me, "Where are you? Are you in your chair?" And it was great. We did that for a couple of months. It was helpful. And I currently have Allison Hoagland. She's also on this call today. She has been the best accountability partner in the history of the world. And I love her. And she's from Kansas City, of all places. We have a good time. And then as for other leverage that you could do, are you alone at our Keller Williams office? No. You can always ask Vincent Cataldo to help you with just about anything. And for agents who are at other market centers, you do have agent services to help you. And do not be shy about asking. Now, once we have done that GPS, and that's given us our goal, we say, dang nabbit, it's at the beginning of the year. I can see myself doing 24 transactions this year. Awesome. But then the hard work of actually doing it, the honest hard work comes into being. And what the 411 does is it helps us figure out where we need to be each month, each quarter to make sure that we make that goal. Louise Wise, I see you on the screen. Do you have a 401 you'd like to share with anybody? Uh-oh, she's hiding now. I think she's going to have to be let back in.
Oh, no. No, I'm
Where
here.
are you? There you are.
I'm here. My MAPS coach has our group using a 12-week year.
Mhm.
So I have a GPS, and I will be using the 12-week year, which is comparable to the 411.
Right. Yes. And the 12-week year looks like this.
Well, who needs a bookstore? We can just go to Janet's house.
That's right. Come on up. So, and not to blow your mind, Kathy Fisher, or any other new agents who end up watching this, the 12-week year really puts the pressure on. And Louise, explain why the 12-week year puts the pressure on folks. What is it?
It's essentially 1 year compressed into 12 weeks.
Right. So instead of 12
High
months, you've
level
got
yeah.
12 weeks. Yeah. And so that way we could achieve big things in a year, because I think we've all seen this happen where it's November and we start thinking, holy crap, I'm nowhere near my goal. I really need to pull these people in, and gosh, I hope they close. Or for those of us who are we're all with Keller Williams, so we have our cap anniversary, right? And so wouldn't it be great to cap in 12 weeks, and then for the rest of the year, the next 3 quarters, you actually keep 100% of your commission? Did you ever think about capping in 12 weeks, Louise? With a 12-week year.
Wouldn't that be great?
So it would be great. So we're
And
going to
what
look
was
at
that-
the 411. And so it's, oh, go ahead.
I had tried to capture your attention a moment ago when we were talking about the smart plans.
Hmm.
I think that's like a wonderful opportunity for Kathy to attract consumers. Kathy, are you registered for Family Reunion by any chance?
I am not.
Okay,
I have family coming this week, so I'm not available,
gotcha.
unfortunately.
I'm sure some cool agents like Janet and Louise and Jack, we'd be happy to share some things with you. I'm sure
That'd be
there's a
awesome.
plethora of information online
Okay.
because one of the classes is about the smart plans.
Okay.
And we can add, I get success from advertising my listings. We can get success from advertising other listings when we have their permission to advertise. So it's just throwing that out there so
Great.
you can get a head start.
I appreciate that.
Louise Weiss, that is pure gold.
And
Grazie mille. All right.
Hey,
Yes.
Janet, can I pop in there a second?
Jack Smith. Yes.
Yeah, what I want to say is that Louise has an extraordinarily good luck when she posts things and gets Louise, I don't know how you do it because I've never thought of asking until now. You get leads from all over the area
I really do.
that you've referred to other, well, I can say personally that you've referred out because you've gotten them, but how are you doing that? But we don't have
I'll
to
be
discuss
happy to
that
share
now.
that with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a just to, and we'll table it for offline because I sent you a direct message with an offline question too.
Oh, okay, good.
Um,
Okay.
And but
But I think
real
for
quick, I
Louise's
have
news-
a multi-million-dollar referral that's with an agent in California from one of my smart plan ads.
Well, there
I've
you go. So I
referred
mean,
Jack and
all the
Tampa
referrals
from
that you do is making you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's one of the beauties of being with Keller Williams. We have vetted agents all over the country. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack that. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought about it and it didn't thought about it until just now again.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jack. I love your perspective, and I'm very grateful for you sharing that. And thank you, Louise. I'm so glad you're here because you're always raising the level. All right, so here's my 411 for February, just so you can see I did one, okay? You don't need to see all the crap that's on there. It's
Is
not.
that the journal? Is that a special journal, Janet?
Oh, y'all, check this out. So
We'll
this
go to the library shelf.
this is the bold. It's bold. It's bold. It's the bold planner, and it's got a GPS in the front. Each month has a 411, and so this is the 411, obviously for February. And
Can I ask you what? Not now, obviously.
Okay.
If you have one that's blank, a
Mhm.
month that's blank, can you just fax a page or scan it to email a
Absolutely.
picture of a page? Thanks.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So when you have your 411 and you're looking at it, you're going to start with reminding yourself in February what the annual goals are, and they're right here. So we said we wanted 24 transactions. We want 15 listings. We want to be involved in leadership growth and do ALC stuff. We want to improve my listing presentation systems. If I'm going to have 15 listings, I better get good with my presentation, right? I want to make sure I'm up to date with the DTD2 every quarter, and I'm going to be bold and add this extra one, add a FSBO or expireds. Now, because we're also wanting to keep track of our personal life, and if you were to think back to those 7 circles that they were having us consider with spiritual life and then key relationships and health and all of those, a lot of those 7 circles were actually things more having to do with your personal life. We can't be awesome agents and do the good that we're here to do if we're not taking care of and building ourselves as human beings first. And then there's the business. So it's as a result, on this, I have my personal stuff here, and I'm not, ashamed to have it here. I decided intentionally praying instead of sort of like, hey, I need some help down here, or I'm grateful, thanks. I want to do a little bit better than that. And then I got an Apple Watch, and that's really super helpful. So I'm going to utilize that. I've got some relationship stuff that I'm working on. And then I have discovered my relationships with my nieces and nephews has taken a huge step forward this year. And with a couple of them, and then a couple others I need to really work on. So I wanted to be intentional with that. And then also my friends who, let's face it, we're not having dinner parties anymore. So what can I do to help that? So that's my annual goals. And now on February, this was what I put down for monthly goals. 2 new listings a month, memorize my listing presentation, teach this class, list an expired, and list a FSBO. And then my personal stuff, I'm doing one-on-ones with close friends once a week. And yeah, it's kind of fun. And then I have my weekly goals. So we've gone from here's what I want to accomplish this month. Now, how does that work out to make sure that I'm on target during each week? So week 1, I was on FG. This week, I actually got ahead because of family reunion. I'm actually starting on my PL calls this week. And as you can see, I've plugged in already family reunion. It is not a surprise to me. And I have made sure that I've, accounted for it. So taking this time to grow my business isn't going to get me off track, because that would be annoying, wouldn't it? Go away or focus on building your business and then completely drop the ball. That would suck. So lead FU means lead follow-up. Just saying. I'm not being rude. And believe it or not,
That's why I put FUP, because I looked at it one day objectively on my notes, FU. That's why I put FUP now. FUP.
Thank you. Thank you for that. We will all do that now. Thank you, because it does look, rude. So on here, I literally had to program in lead follow-up time because it was just sort of like, well, of course I'll get to it. Sure, I'll get to it. I had to plug it in. And on my time blocking, because I'm on a what do you call it, a power hour with some of these lovely people from 9 to 11, I'm making sure that I'm doing my lead follow-up up until 12. And that's making sure that I'm going in and checking out all those people who said they wanted to do something in the, perhaps in the next 6 months or the next 12 months or the, next week. So I'm keeping an eye on those things. And so you see that I have this marked out here. I was supposed to have an open house last week and we canceled it. So it got moved to this week, and we may go under contract, but we're still going to have the open house anyway, just cause. And you can see that my business goals include script and role play, scripts, And then what does run LP mean? That means run listing presentation. And I haven't done it for this week, so I need to kind of get on it today so that I'm honest. And then my personal stuff, you can see that I'm being Auntie J. I had brunch with Alicia. This weekend I'll see Hillary. So I'm keeping track of all these things. And don't feel awkward that you're creating a plan to reach out to your friends or to love on your family. Um, James Shaw told a great story once about the fact that when he met his wife initially, he put her on an 8x8. And an 8x8 is actually a campaign that we use when we want to get to know somebody more in about a 2-week period, and we don't want to drop the ball. And it's a combination of text, phone calls, emails, handwritten notes, that kind of thing. And she married him, so it must have worked. Plus, she's a catch, so he did really well. So essentially now, to just kind of recap, the 411 is telling us what the mile marker we should be at during our year. And I'm going to stop the screen share. Here we go. So the GPS says, hey, in this year, this would be good to achieve. And I have an idea of how I'm going to get there. And then the 411 is making sure that we're doing what needs to be done so we make sure that we get there. Last year we had a pandemic, and still a lot of people made their goals or came darn close. The beauty of this is it just gives you freedom. And we've been having a lot of conversations on some of our masterminds lately about the fact that when you time block, you actually have joy in your life because you're calling the shots. You're keeping control of your time. That's the goal, because if you start in the morning and you get the things that you said you were going to get done, and that might be praying and exercising and lead gen and lead follow-up, and you get that stuff done, when the proverbial poop hits the fan, you can deal with it in the afternoon. A couple weeks ago, I took the afternoon off because it was a beautiful day and I was caught up, and I was actually had scheduled an appointment. I took that afternoon off and relaxed. Our friend Jack Smith, Luxury in St. Pete, Tampa Bay, he's been having to be very intentional about taking a day off here and there because he's been working so hard. We have to refill the well. So by time blocking, we are able to give ourselves that privilege, and our family and our friends and our health deserve that, don't you think? Now, does anybody have any questions or any comments?
I would just like to echo everything you just said, Janet, about the time blocking. It is life changing for the better. I wish I would have been more receptive to the time blocking concept at the very beginning of my career. So Kathy, you're at a great place right now.
Yeah.
to learn from our mistakes. And I'll give you an example. Like we're talking business. I'll give you a personal example. And TMI, okay. At my house, Louise washes laundry on the weekend. Not all weekend, but one day over the weekend. Like that's it. Like my kids, everyone in this house knows if they're going to roll in the mud, do it on a Friday, because they're just going to have to deal without clothes until it's done. I'm not going to do it. So I don't have that nagging, bothersome conversation in my mind about, oh, I have to do this and that and that. And that's what I'm focusing on, my one thing at that moment. It's so life changing. And then conversely, every morning, 8 to 11:30, I know where I'm going to be. My husband knows where I'm going to be. My kids know where I'm going to be. I'm going to be engaging with Janet and Jack and hopefully even Kathy on the morning calls for the inspiration and then the script practice and then the lead gen.
Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And when I miss it, I feel the way I would feel if I didn't brush my teeth before I left my house. It would feel awkward.
Yeah. I'm wondering too, so Jack shows up just like you show up every day, religiously. Do we have a good time doing our job? Yes.
I love what I do. I love what I do. I don't know about you, but I love what I do.
We have a great time showing up early in the morning. And Jack Smith, what's the earliest you've done script and role play in the
I
morning?
start every morning. I start every morning at 6:30. Then I have 6:30 to 7. Then I have one from 7 to 7:30. Then I have James from 7:30 until 8:20. And then I have
Sam Nealon.
Sam Nealon from 8:20 to 9. Then we have Huddle Up from 9:10 to 9:25. And we lead gen till 11:30.
And you're getting it done. How was your year this year in St. Pete?
It's all good. Let me just say that. I can't, the pressure that we've all created with ourselves. You're talking about the 12-week year, and we are economically where we're supposed to be, but we're not unit wise where we're supposed to be. But that's because we've had a couple of high-end sales. But we want to help 100 families this year, and we've only helped, how many have we helped this year so far? 8, 9? We're supposed to have 10 a month that we help. So that's the pressure I give myself, which is wrong in some level, but the reality is the numbers are fine, but I still want to help 100 families. So we have to find by the end of the month, I have to have another 5 families that we have to help.
Hey, I've got a vacant lot in Dunedin you can sell.
Girl.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, I can get you a fortune for that one. Are you kidding? I can call 3 builders right now.
Well,
And I think Jack's being humble. I mean, he just
Exactly.
received a wonderful accolade in
Mhm.
his community. I was there. Some of us were there to support him while he was receiving that accolade. So he's a very humble guy. Hugs to you, Jack.
Yes, and thank you for always contributing, even when it's not your state. You contribute. And then Allison Hoagland, who's quiet in the background here, she's been having things, come on the market and sell, and like 30 offers and things like crazy out in Kansas City in the snow. So if she doesn't control her morning, when you have these days where you've gotten the listing, you've put it on the market, and it's like it could be chaos. So the only way that we're able to control and be able to say, I'm in control of myself. I'm the master of me. Thank you very much. It's because we got up early and we took control. So that's what I've got to say about that. Well, our darling, delightful agent services guy, Vincent Cataldo, has a class that he has to teach at 2, and we're coming up on it. This is recorded, so it'll be available to our market center, but I'm really grateful to
Look
my
at that. Look at that.
Thank
Don't be like
you.
Sam. Share it with the world. I'm joking.
Thank you, Janet. I got to run too. I have a 2:30 appointment.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
great job.
Great.
Kathy, nice to meet you. Welcome to the KW
Thank
family.
you so much.
Yes,
Nice to meet you.
Kathy, and
All
we're all
right.
here
Done
to
a great
help.
job.
Thank you
so much for including Kansas City.
Lots of
And
good
welcome,
information.
Allison, in the
It's
snow.
80.
All right. See you guys on Monday. Ciao, ciao.
All right.
Take care. Thank you.